Congo me an intro.
That was nice, actually.
And this is usual, Paddy, live from the Congo.
Jumanji. I can't remember what the thing that Jumanji does is, but it's like, I don't know. And then he finds it.
What, Jumanji?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He goes into it.
Yeah.
Pretty deep.
Ooh.
Ooh, So, I've got enough.
God, you went a bit loud all of a sudden.
I know. I've been tinkering with my knobs. all of them.
I am pooped.
I don't even know if I'm turning that up or down. Right. Welcome back to Usual, Paddy. It is me, Pet Shop Man.
And me.
Obviously,
Not Pet Shop Man.
Loudmouth is here with me today, again.
Listen. Yeah, I am.
I think someone's trying to start a car outside. Could be yours.
It could be. That's what it sounds like when I try and set off in the morning.
Go on, you can do it. I should have another microphone plugged in and hang it out the window. Which segues us on to today's episode. Today, I thought, with our cars going through general health checks, today will be our car chat.
Usual Paddy.
Yes, usual Paddy's taking. Now that Halloween is over, we can go back to like everything. Which are like the horrors of actual life. Opposed to just horror films
and
things.
how plentiful they are.
And, you know, it's a podcast about everything, more or less. And, you know, this is real life with real life stories. And today our real life stories will circulate around cars.
Okay, Jeremy Clarkson.
We power. Now, we generally have...
Punch a man.
bad luck in different respects when it comes to cars. Now, I'm still on my first car. How long have you had your driving license first?
I've been driving. Well, I've had my license for 4 years, maybe 5 now.
4 years. I've had mine 2 years, but I've only owned a car for just over a year now. How long? Well, I say how long before you owned your own car, but as soon as you pass your test, you could use your nana's car.
Yeah, so if we count that as well, I've been driving for, say, 4 years, and I've had 5 cars.
Is that including your nana's car?
So I had the Peugeot, then I used the white one, I've had the Fiat, I've had the Hyundai, and I've got the one that I've got now, so yeah, 5.
Right.
Plus 2 rentals.
That doesn't count because that's a rental.
But I borrowed them because mine was shit and all broken.
We'll go into rentals later.
Oh,
Thanks.
God, yeah.
So, the first car you had was a Peugeot 206.
Yes, which technically, well, it was my nana's.
Well, it was your nana's, but she put you on the insurance on it.
Yeah, basically.
How was that for you?
To be honest, I still, to this day, remember vividly the first time I was freed alone. I drove to... because I was living with my nana at the time in Leviston, and I drove from there to the sports centre to play some volleyball. And I remember having to get there, and then not only get there, having never been driving by myself ever in my life, but then also park in a car park. And
scary.
I fully babbed my pants. But then when I got out of the car, I was like, oh my God, I did it. It was so straight. It was outrageous. And I was really proud of myself.
Well, it was only a small car, so you couldn't really get it.
Listen,
wrong.
Well, no, that's true. It was quite heavy though.
Yeah.
Driving
So,
wise,
like your first driving experience was driving on like your own. Was driving to and from Leviston.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which isn't particularly nice. Well, it is now knowing how to drive, but
it's quite an easy.
It's just 160 road.
Yeah.
So it's fine, really. But
it was weird for me. Like my first foray into like driving wild and free without driving instructor Simon sobering up next to us.
I won't say anything else.
There's a shout out.
Oh, Simon.
I'll have to tag him in this. Because we both went to the same driving instructor. Well, like you went first and then you told him and me to
team up.
Learn with him.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
It certainly is.
He was...
Maybe don't tag him in this if you're going along with the old bad luck stories.
Well, no, I mean...
Thanks for teaching me how to drive awfully.
No. Simon is great.
He's wonderful and magical. Simon Dixon.
His stats for pass rates are very high, a lot higher than a lot of the ones in Scarborough. Mm-hmm. So he is a good instructor, and it was a good laugh. He's a good dude. Proper bants. Yeah. As you might say, if you're a twat. It was because me and him went for drinks. Yeah, you had real bants, didn't you? You had a rapport. We did. We went to the pub, and I bought him a drink as like a thanks for teaching me, I suppose, to drive. Then we had because he lived just like down the street from me. So we walked down to the pub, had a lot to drink, and stumbled our way back. After our table got mobbed by a load of 40-odd-year-old women. That's super I don't know weird. If they were on a hendo or something, but they were a very rowdy bunch. But then it's Ramshill, and there's always rowdy bunches around. Yeah. Not the Ramshill, it was the Cask, the dodgy pub. Yeah. Well, they're all dodgy, I suppose. I was going to say. Yeah, so I passed my test. I hadn't rushed out to get a car because I couldn't afford it. Because buying a car and I couldn't think what I wanted. But then Martin from other podcasts, it was his birthday. It was his 30th. And you bought him a car. No. He's one of them motorbike drivers. Oh, see, I wouldn't really mind being one of them. Yeah, but only as a hobby though, not as a full-time situation. When he listens to this, he's going to be fuming, and we'll probably argue about this later in the future because it's just like a little hairdryer kind of 1, 2, 5 thing. He fell off it once, but I'll talk about that with him at some point. Really bring that up to him. Really rub it in. So yeah, it was his birthday, and there was a group of us, and we were going to get the train. Where was it from? Was it from Gromont Station? Might have been from... Oh, that was when you went on your lads, but it was on granny trains. Because steam trains, because he's big into his steam trains. And steam trains. Who isn't into steam trains, really? I mean, apart from you and your level crossings, but we'll get to that. That's a story for another day. More horror talk when we start talking about your... Everything about me is horrifying. Other irrational fears. Yes. But I think someone pulled out, so we're a car short, and we couldn't get everyone in, and it was oh, what do we do? I was well, I could get day insurance out on my sister's car and drive that. And it was yeah, can you do that? I was shrugged my shoulders. I thought, I assume so. So, I did, and it all obviously got approved and everything like that. And I thought, oh, it's done, great. And then it sunk in and I got, damn, this is going to be my first foray into driving as an adult. So I went and picked the car up, gingerly drove it back to mine, and then the next day, so I went to Martin's, and then we drove off, all the Whitby Road, and then all these sweepy roads. And I'm very fidgety. I'm sorry, my ankle really hurts. It needs to click. The guy that I was taking, so we're following Darren. That had Martin and that in there, so I was following him. I'm going around all these roads, and it was a bit vigorous in these sweeping bends that go out the Whitby way, and I was really apologetic. I was oh, I'm really sorry about this. And the guy was don't worry about it, you're going 20 miles an hour. Don't worry, I mean, with these kind of windy roads, they're just meant to be enjoyed. I was no, I'm just driving it. I'm not purposefully hammering it around these corners. I'm just doing the best I can. I'm just trying my best. As the sweat beads from his head. We got there, and I I managed to park it. I say park it, I just had to drive it straight into a spot. So that was like easy. Went on the train thing, went back, picked the cars up, and then we drove back to Scarborough. And then we got a phone call on the way back saying, "Oh, we're going to stop on the Marine Drive and get an ice cream and that from Oasis." I thought, I'm going to have to like park where there's people waiting to get past me. And everyone's going to be watching as I try and park in like these narrow bays because they're all full.
I mean, to be
because
fair,
so busy.
your sister's car was, and still is, but a different version of, a micro machine.
Yeah, Fusty Phil.
It was small as fuck.
So Fusty Phil was it still is somewhere.
I still see Fusty Phil around.
Yeah, he gets around. It was a Toyota Yaris. So it was like a 1 litre thing.
Tiny weenie.
But that was like my first foray into driving normally. Now, obviously, we both passed our test in the same car.
We did.
Which was the nice little burgundy Suzuki Swift.
I was completely convinced it was orange, but actually looking back, it was more red.
It was more burgundy.
Yeah, it was.
It was a burgundy car.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun.
It was.
So then, after your Peugeot, where'd you go from there?
Where did I go from there? Kia.
Yeah, your nana's other car
Then
when she got rid of
the
Peugeot.
And got a Kia Picanto.
A Kia Picanto.
Now this kind of overlaps quite a lot with my beloved first car of my very own. My love, my one, my only. Except now mine's better. Winifred.
And what was Winifred?
Winifred
was a rust bucket.
Was a tip. She cost me about £200. She was a Fiat Punto.
See, on the grand scheme of things,
a 1-point poo.
£200. Is that what you paid for the car?
Yeah.
That for the life you got out of it, that's remarkable.
In it though.
But then that's Fiat.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Was he silver?
She was silver.
Silver.
She was called Winifred. She was great. She wasn't that great, but I loved her dearly.
She wasn't that great that when we decided to go to Edinburgh for the first time, we were like, we'll take my nana's car.
Yeah, I was like,
that's when
this is where the overlap with the Picanto comes in, because she wasn't powerful enough to do much. So I could use her for my basics, but I couldn't get her to get somewhere, like when I went to Edinburgh, or if I ever went anywhere. Basically, if we're going past Whitby, it can't cope with it, as we will get onto in a short while.
Yeah, well, now we're segueing onto that. Like, going to Whitby. Going to Whitby.
Yeah.
How did that fare for you in fair old silvery Winifred?
It got fine. It was absolutely wonderful. Getting past Whitby and further out towards Gisborough where I was heading. However, there was a small and very slight issue.
Do tell. We like a story. What happened?
I was driving along. I was doing a favour for my boss, in fact. So she's not a big fan of driving, and she had a dog to pick up in Gisborough. I think it was Gisborough. Anyway, and I said I would do it for her. So there I was, zooming along. And I got to a bit, which is a bit of it's a dodgy bit anyway. And even now, like, when I get there, I'm like, ugh. But I got to a bit, and on the left-hand side of the road was a puddle. I'd say a puddle. Like a...
Was it a dual... It was a dual carriageway.
It was a dual carriageway bit, yeah.
But it goes round...
But it kind of goes round a corner and down a hill. And there was a puddle to the left of me. Puddle to the left of me. Rabbit to the right, here I am. Basically, I veered literally very slightly out of the way of the rabbit. I gave it, 10 centimetres, just edged out of its way just so I didn't clip it with. So instead I clipped the puddle, and I spun many times around the road and busted into the central reservation, and my car and the central reservation fell to pieces. Luckily there was no other cars.
Yeah.
And literally what I did was, in that instance, reverse out of the central reservation and continue on my journey. And then I got to like a little, I don't know, like a depot thing, pulled into a side road and thought, I'm just going to have a quick peruse at the damage. Perused it, realised there was damage, and went, fuck it, I'm going to have to just deal with this at a later time, and carried on.
What kind of damage we talking?
Well, I mean, my engine light came on and remained that way until the car was taken to the garage.
Yeah. Check engine for Rabbit.
Check engine for Rabbit.
Rabbit Clara.
Puddle and all the broken pieces that fell off. My front end was pretty mangled. It wasn't looking great. And yeah, the check engine light came on, but I figured I will check it. But after I've got to Gisborough, picked a dog up and drove home again.
Until then, I don't want to look at it.
And it was like, oh my God, the journey back, it was fucking chugging. It was really awful. And I thought, I was like, obviously I was a foolish youth back then. I wasn't really, but I didn't have any breakdown insurance or anything like that. And that would have not gone well for me had I have broken down. It was the middle of the night as well by the time I'd set off back. So it was pitch black on the like Teesside Whitby roads.
Yeah.
With a car that was fucked.
Been there.
And it was. And then I got it back, took it to the garage. One of my many shameful visits to the garage when I was like, hello, I've ruined...
You have a good rapport with your mechanic.
I do, which is lucky because I do
your
not
Kenko
have a lot
rapport.
of... I do not have a lot of luck with cars. And so I took it to him and £400 later, my £200 investment did not feel like a great thing. But I figured £600 is still cheaper than buying another car. At the time it was anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, because I spent the 200 and then it was the 400 to get it fixed.
Yeah, so it wasn't like you were paying £600 at once.
No. So it was the 400 and I thought £400 cheaper than buying a new car, which will be in more of a sheddy state because really
you probably just get the same Fiat
for its age, etc. Like it was still in all right condition. So
was it a Fiat or is it a Fiat?
A Fiat.
I don't know how it's meant to be.
A Fiat. I once knew a guy who called Peugeot. He was Scottish though, and he used to call it a Peugeot. And I was like, that's not how you say those words, but okay.
Even in Scottish, that's not.
I think it was weird, to be honest.
Must be calling it that. Wow. So, how long did you have the Fiat until? Well, from the accident to when you got rid of it.
About 6. Well, I had it in total for just over a year. It was quite early on that I had the accident. And then it must have been about 6 months or so, 6 or 7 months.
Still quite a while though.
And then it went through the MOT, and it had I had to spend more money on it, of course. And
that's what MOTs are for.
And I thought, that's fine, I can spend this money on it. And then like 2 fucking weeks later, it just died in the middle of Seymour Road.
Yeah, there's a picture of it somewhere.
There is.
I need that picture, then I can upload it.
That's fine, I'll find you it. It's on my Instagram, I think, anyway. So Winifred was no more. She died in the middle of the road.
On Seymour Road?
On Seymour Road. I was honestly about 100 footsteps from my house.
Yeah.
And she just went, oh, we've decided we're going to die now, even though we've just gone through loads of shit together and you've spent a fortune on me.
The final nail in that rusty coffin.
So that kind of overlapped with the Kia Picanto because basically in all the times that Winifred was out of action, I needed a car because dog.
Did you find out what killed Winifred at the end?
I think it was just a series of things. So when she actually...
Fiat disease.
When she actually broke on Seymour Road that time, it was the clutch. But by that point, it was just... It didn't even work at all. It just basically fallen out of the arsehole of it.
After you'd paid out.
And I figured after I'd paid everything else, it just wasn't financially worth it. So I was just like, nah, don't fix it. Keep it.
Wow. Oh, yeah, because you gave it to your garage.
I gave it to Garage Man, and I think he did it up and gave it to somebody else because I've seen it about since then. Only every so often, though, and always with different people, so presumably it falls apart and they sell it on.
Just gets passed on.
Yeah.
Passed around.
Kind of like Fusty Phil, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, no. I think Phil's still with the same person. It's quite a reliable car. It's just the driver that was unreliable. Not me, my sister.
Yeah.
Wow. So, you were out of car.
I was out
of car.
I'm so lost without it because my dog is an asshole.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, your cars are primarily for dog transport.
Essentially, yes. My life and hobbies are dog transporting and just generally a skip on wheels.
Yeah, them generic pictures that you see around Facebook where everyone's got like the car open and it's full of crap.
It's
like,
full of shit.
Get in, let me just move this bag. It's like, no, that's a real thing and it's your cars.
Well, listen, when I'm driving and I'm either eating or I'm drinking, probably both. Not alcohol, don't worry. And then, like, what do you do in that situation? You just chuck it behind you and then forget about it for weeks, if not months.
I don't.
I'm not anal.
Like, if there's, like, rubbish there, it's like, that's really annoying.
Listen, my life's a mess, my car's a mess.
I'm the person that has that had the contract that I gave to, like, Jamie Martin whenever they want to go to the cinema or something. It's like, you have to read this and sign it.
And then when you first got your car, I accidentally trampled a piece of pasta into the carpet.
Our first trip to York, you had, like, what kind of travel snack shall I get? I'll have this bowl of pasta. That's normal, right? And then you dropped a piece.
I didn't know I dropped it, though.
I know, unknowingly. Then, because he's so fidgety, you kind of, like, mushed it into the carpet.
Yeah, I did that.
And I saw it when he got out. I was fuming.
I was not aware.
But we'll get to my car things shortly.
Yes.
So, from there, you ran with... You kept borrowing your nan's Picanto.
Yeah, which I realised was just not viable long term because she needs it herself and shit.
It was to go to Oliver's Mount normally, wasn't it?
This was pretty much, yeah.
Before we started venturing out to
further,
the woods and stuff and beaches. The beaches. Well, we used to go to Filey Beach.
I used to go to Filey Beach and North Bay and South Bay, that kind of thing, but nothing particularly adventurous.
No.
Because
then came along
Maurice. Whoa, slow down, Maurice.
So you got Maurice.
I got Maurice.
Maurice was a Hyundai i20.
Correct.
A black one.
Yes.
I remember.
My little granny mobile.
You went online, this garage people was like, yeah, I'll bring it and you can look round it, and we won't encourage you to buy it even though we brought it all this way here.
From
kind
Leeds.
Of thing. And then I was like texting you throughout. It was like, oh, do this, oh, do that. Make sure it doesn't swing off when you put your foot down. And then the next thing I hear is, oh, I got it. I was like, yeah, fine. Whatever. Yeah. But then it was a nice car.
It was?
It was the newest of your cars. Even today, it's
still the newest. I mean, 2010.
2010.
Which isn't...
Look at you, you swish bitch.
I know, right?
And then you ruined it by putting dogs and everything in it. Stacks of towels, always. There's
towels, dirty old boots,
even
waterproofs.
The boot wasn't huge. It wasn't tiny. However,
and it was literally rammed.
The dogs have the back seat, and when you opened the boot, it was just a plastic tub full of towels, dog coats,
leads,
balls,
collars, lights, balls, throwers,
everything. Like, I may need 10 collars at once. They're going in the car.
I might need this wide one. I might need this soft one. I might need this one because it's a better colour that matches the thing that glows.
Yeah. So, but again, it was a nice car. We went for many a journey in it.
We did, and that was the car that got me to Scotland. Did it? Yeah, we went to Scotland in it, didn't we? Yes, we did.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we did.
What time was that?
The second time. When my mum and Logan
the
came.
horror.
Yeah.
The horror convention.
That got us there then, and that was fine.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It got me to Sarah's, which is in Coventry.
Yeah.
It got me to Sheffield. Yeah, it was all right.
Did the rounds. How long did you have the car before your problems started showing up?
Not long at all, really.
Damn.
Yeah, I had the car again. I mean, it seems to be like an annual tradition that my car eats shit and I have to buy a new one. I'd only had it a matter of months, probably 6 months, if that, when it started. When it started to do weird things that I was like, oh, this will be fine.
Turns out it's not.
Which turns out it's not. It was an unfortunate, basically unanticipated freak thing where just the engine just went, you know what, nah. But at first it was using oil too much, so I'd take it to the garage and he'd be like, oh my God, you need to check your oil more. And I'm like, it was changed like a
Yeah,
week ago.
'cause,
What the fuck?
Like, the first time round, you, like, text me, it was, like, it's practically running on no oil, and it took, like, it's quarts when they fill oil. It was, like, it took, like, 4 litres or 4 quarts or whatever to like, fill it.
And we were all like, oh, stupid Robyn, not checking it. Even though I had, sort of.
When you had to take it back to the garage for something else, that's when they checked the oil again. And it was like,
oh, it's
you're
gone
out
again.
of oil again.
I was like, well, that can't be right, surely.
But there was, like, no leak under the car.
No, there wasn't.
And then you got, like, some sudden massive engine issue.
Well, it wasn't a massive engine. It just suddenly started making a real rattle. And because I'd obviously been driving it for a long time, I sort of didn't notice it. And it was other people that were pointing out that it was making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, that to me was normal at that point because I could that was just how it was.
Mm.
And then it turned out that it was the engine fucking up and burning all its own oil out. And
yeah, that's not good.
And I kind of took it to the garage and went, so this thing's happening. And he went, yeah. And he MOT'd it. And then he was like, everything's fine. Except there's just no...
Always after an MOT.
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't MOT it. I took it just before the MOT and they checked it over and he was like, well, MOT
Oh, yeah,
it.
he said, because, like, I can pass it, but...
There's no point.
You need to change all of this and there's no point.
Yeah, like, I can pass it, but you'll need an entirely new engine.
Yeah, and engines for them, what were they, like, 1,500 quid?
Yeah,
it's
something
practically
stupid,
what you paid for the car.
Yeah.
It's weird that, like, you can get a car, but then you can get an engine for the same car for the same money.
But I think, like, I'm not going to be turning up and saying, right, I need everything on a car except for the engine. They're not going to go, that's cool, it's free, just buy the engine.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so that happened. And it
that was
like,
a devastating time for you.
It was a devastating time for me because I was without cash and without car.
Yeah,
and because
that's
it was
where
so
I came in.
Foobed, I couldn't really sell it for anything.
No.
So I couldn't even recoup anything back.
That's it. I mean, you had some, like, dodgy people come round.
Oh, God, I got some twats round. Loads of idiots that were just like...
Gumtree. Here's a
hey
shout
there,
out.
you have boobs, you won't know a thing. I'll offer you 50 pence for it. And I'm like, get the fuck out. And then he called me a time waster, even though, like, I'd never told the guy to drive all the way here and offer me no money.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Fool. But you got rid of it eventually.
Eventually. It was behind my house for absolutely ages. It was the cleanest it's ever been as well.
I know, but you got very little for it, but then you needed rid of it.
I did.
And you need what you could get. And it was a couple that turned up, if I remember rightly, driving a Hyundai i20.
Yeah, they turned up in a Hyundai i20 to buy mine for one of their wives because he had one, his friend had one, his friend's wife had one, and he wanted one for his wife as well.
Like some kind of weird i20.
And they were like, we just really like i20s, but I've got an engine at home that I can just put in it.
Just laying around under the bed.
What, more dead i20s? Like, what is with you people? But, you know, they like them, whatever.
And because I was driving home from work and these two i20s passed me, and then when I got home, I like texted you and said, oh, did you get rid of your car? And you were like, yeah, I sold it like this
to
time.
these weird Hyundai i20
so I
collectors.
did see your car. It passed me while I was coming home from work.
Maurice.
So this is where I suppose I come in. Because from the time you were between cars, I had to do your dog shipping.
You did.
So I have a Hyundai Coupe. Now, when I first... obviously, I passed my test and I was in this big loop of like, right, here is some ideas of cars that I want. So it's just like slowly taking my time with it because I used to have to ride my bike to work every day and back. And that... Well, oh, is it restaurant lights?
Ah, is that what it is? I thought the street lights had all gone out.
Ooh, creepy.
I know.
So I was like, I was looking at Lexus IS 200s. They're usually like about 1999 year wise. But they're like really good cars, and you can pick them up really quite cheap.
Bear with, because I don't know what any of these are. So what I'm going to do is Google them while you tell me about them.
While I'm talking about them.
So what was that again? Lexus what?
It was a Lexus IS 200.
Lexus IS 200. Oh, they're boring. Oh no. Yeah, they are.
You'd like the inside because there's like lots of dials and knobs and things to turn.
To be honest, though, I've just seen someone do one that's quite nice.
Thing is, they've got really nice interiors as well, and it's like leather and suede.
Oh, I like
It's
a suede.
A nice suede because it's like hard wearing like leather, but soft and warm.
Yeah,
unlike
I'm
leather on a cold day.
Yeah. Speaking from experience.
So I was looking at that. I was looking at BMW 3, sort of like 318 CI.
CI 2002/3.
Yeah, because they're like a coupe.
Oh, they're nice.
But they're nice. But I couldn't. This is the anal thing with me. Like,
God,
I needed the right wheels and the right interior. Where I wanted the silvery bit. Now, the silvery bit is the silver part on the bottom of the steering wheel and the silver trim that runs along the dash.
Could you not?
A lot of them.
Could you not just painted that on?
I could, but that's effort. So I was looking at them. At one point, I even looked at a.
Why would you want it with the silver bit? It doesn't even look that good. No offense.
Because I like it.
Nah.
Screw you. I even looked at. I saw some nice. What?
I'm just waiting to Google it.
Well, you'll know it. You'll know it. Weirdly, it's the Seat Ibizas.
All right.
But,
Okay. Yeah.
like, sort of the newer ones, not like the brand new.
Yeah.
But there were some diesel ones that do, like, 50 miles to the gallon.
The Ibiza.
And they were going for, like, around my kind of price range.
That's not bad.
For a diesel one.
Yeah.
I looked at these ones. So I was just like, I'm and ahhing, but again, I wasn't rushing into it. Then one day, I was coming home from work. I'd stopped to cross a busy road. And what drove past me was... Oh, I was also looking at Mitsubishi Galants.
Oh, I like them.
But I could not find one at the time. They only appear... when I can't afford them. And then when I can afford them, they've disappeared. And I've spent my money on something else.
Shite.
Probably like Usual Paddy.
Oh,
which we'll get into like the history of Usual Paddy at a later date.
Yeah.
But yeah, what drove past me was a white Hyundai Coupe. And it was a car that never crossed my mind. I'd always seen them. I've got customers that have them. But never really clocked. And I watched it as it passed, and I thought, it's really nice. I know, I'm going to go home, and just for a laugh, I'm going to run insurance comparison.
Do a little
and,
tap,
like,
tap, tap.
yeah,
I'm going to run tap, 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 tap on the table. Like
tapping on the table.
I need
like
to know how to do
a
this.
Keyboard. Like, this is how you type.
Do.
Yeah, I'm going to have a laugh, and I'm going to run some like comparison quotes for them. Now, I couldn't find a white one, but I was surprised at how cheap these coupes were going for. So I was like, oh, a little bit more interested now. And then I was going through them. There was like the regular third generation ones, which have the orange indicators on the headlights.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at I wanted the slightly newer ones in that, which are the 3.5, so it's just kind of like the facelift model. And I saw a few in my kind of range.
I'm going to stop you there just a second. So the ones that before had the orange bits on the headlights, which is just the orange bit that's there all the time.
The indicators, yeah.
In your one, no.
It's clear.
But is the
clear,
light
but there's
orange?
an orange bulb, yeah.
Right, yeah, no, that's where that's better.
And it has they generally have the better bumpers as well.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly keen on the slightly older version bumpers. So I thought, they're quite cheap to get. Now let's have this laugh and see how many thousands of pounds that they want from me for insurance. So I ran it through the database, and I compared markets and
Moneyed your supermarkets.
compared and things. And then my quotes came back, and it's like, hang on, these are the cheapest quotes for any of the cars that I've run through these days. This is really unusual. Like, the world of car insurance is just mind-boggling.
I don't understand it at all.
Like, so I was like, well, this could be it. This could be it. So I was like looking everywhere. And then one day, it was my day off from work, and it poured down with rain. Now, this was a day when, like, in the valley, it flooded, and you saw pictures at the co-op where, like, it was up to cars' windshields, and they just, like, got stuck in there. It was, like, pouring down.
That was a right weird, rainy season.
And I was, like, just sat at home watching Homes Under the Hammer.
Obviously.
With Lizzie, and I was looking out the window. I was like, oh, it's really bad out there. And, like, this was when Dale worked where I work. He was sending me videos from inside the warehouse from where I work, and water falling on the inside.
And I was sending you videos from my work where, like, all the drains on Queen Street had just burst, and there was just, like, geysers all over the road.
Rivers running out of the shop into the main part of the warehouse. It was chaos. And I sat and I looked out the window, and I thought, I could have had to ride to work today. And that's when I thought, right, time to get a bit more serious about my car buying situation. So then I went into it more, and time was getting on. I was like, I can't seem to find anything in my area. And I saw that BMW on Auto Trader. It was an old one. It might have been like a 1997 or a 1998. It was a black one. It was a convertible, but the electronics of the roof weren't working. But I thought, I don't care, you can put them down manually. And
manually.
It was the right colour. It had.
It was the right colour. I'm like, has it got wheels? Yes, right, buy it.
Yeah, that's where your problem is.
Has it got wheels? Can it hold absolute copious amounts of shit? Yes, buy it.
Well, it probably could have that. There were some rips in the leather, but I didn't care because it was black. The bodywork was in.
Annoyance now, just moving things around.
Moving microphones around. It had the M3 sporty kind of bumper on it, and it had like the old style M3 wheels, which had like the big plates on it. I thought, this is great. And this is where I fell out with Auto Trader, because it was like, this car is like 100 miles from you. It's like, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. I can bribe Robyn to take me. And then when I actually went into like putting it into Google, I was like, oh, Auto Trader uses
as the crow flies.
And it says it will take you, well, it's 183 miles to this car. I thought, that's a bit much to go all the way to say, no, I don't want that. It's like, I'm already going to be forking out quite a lot for a car, so, you know, I've got to work with them or everything. And I was gutted. It was on there a few months ago as I was just like perusing. I thought, oh, it's still there, or it's gone, it's come back, but it's like, oh, I really want it because it's so nice. But
what if it's still on there?
I still can't afford it.
True.
Regardless, because there's that. Oh yeah, I was looking at Toyota RAV4s as well.
Yes.
I was looking at the short wheelbase versions, but again, I have needs. I wanted a black one with colour matched bumpers. I wanted the.
Hang on, I'm just going to do. Just do deep.
The side steps on it, and I wanted the bull bar on the front. And my idea was, still is kind of, that I'd get it when I got new tyres for it. I'd get like Goodrich tyres or something with the white writing on it. I just think it would look really smart and get some like
banging.
Proper banging, like Hoonigans and things.
Never say that again, but okay.
I kind of feel dirty that I need to wash myself off after
have a shower
saying
now.
youth things. So I'd fallen out with Auto Trader. eBay, there's like too many bids on everything. And just by chance, I went onto Gumtree, and there was one at Staxton for sale in my price budget. It was like the top end.
But it was there.
So I was messaging the guy, and I said I might go and poke around it after work at some point. I was like, yeah, fine. Then I texted you and you said you were free, so we both went out together. And
Yes,
the man was there tinkering with like other cars that he's like trying to flog. I was like, oh, I was messaging you earlier. I've come to look at the car, and he was like, oh, fine, and just like gave me the key. I said, drive it round.
Let's do whatever.
And while he's like tinkering in his van or something,
Yeah.
go wild. I was like, okay, okay. So we like looked round it, and that's when I saw the massive scratch down one side. But like, I was also like potentially purchase a car, so I was like, I can skip over that.
I can overlook this ginormous wound.
We looked round it. The boot was massive. We sat in it. It was very low down.
It was weird.
Compared to like your car or whatever. Did some like little loops around the place, and then after so on, we got back, parked it up eventually because it's long but small at the same time. It's very strange, and then someone else in a black coupe was rolling past, having a nosy at it.
Yes, they were.
And I felt like I just had to like pee up the side of it to mark my territory. So you can't have this.
This is not yours.
I was like, substitute the scratch with pee. Like, it's mine, or this is mine.
Unless you're going to buy it and sell yours to me, thank you.
Yeah, because like the silver one was like at the bottom of my list, but beggars can't be choosers. I needed a car. I couldn't get caught in weather like that on my bicycle going to work again. And I ended up purchasing it. And there's a picture of that somewhere, which you took of me like signing
I did.
deets. And then that day, because it was a different day when I bought it, he left after the deal was done, and we just kind of like sat on the wall for a bit as I was like taking in this grand moment of, I've just purchased a car.
I've just made a human adult
It's
purchase.
like, yeah, I've done an adult thing. Well, I did most of an adult thing, because while we were doing that, I made you go and like
I basically
sort my tax out
taxed and
for
insured
me.
it, didn't I? Like, you do this piece.
So yeah, we just like took it in for a little minute, and then I was like, oh well, this is it. I've bought my car, and it's very nice. I still really like my car. It has leather seats.
It does.
That you kind of slip around on.
Yes.
It's incredibly hot in the summer, even with your aircon on. It goes from super hot to mildly uncomfortably warm.
It goes from super hot to super hot, but with some air blowing on your face,
But with some
equally
warm
as hot.
air blowing in your face. So much so that when we went to Yorkshire Wildlife Park and got a picture of you half asleep hanging out the window.
Literally hanging out the window on a motorway, like gasping for air.
Like I say all the windows. There's only two that you can open, and a sunroof. They were open, and it was doing nothing. But it's fine. I made some purchases for it. It didn't come with a parcel shelf, so I sourced a parcel shelf. It's the smallest parcel shelf in the world.
Pointless.
But I have one, and it's gone from a sporty van to like an actual coupe now.
Yes.
I got some fascinating Wish purchases.
You did.
Some centre caps.
Some weird silver trim.
So yeah, I got I ordered blue and silver came. Typical Wish. But I'm all right with the silver. I'm all right with it.
The car is silver, so.
I got some knobby Hyundai dust caps and some cushion pads that you put around your seat belt for your neck, because you're always uncomfortable.
I'm always uncomfortable. I've never stopped fidgeting. I'm the worst human being.
Like you put it on like a jumper because you kind of like slip your arms through it when you're sat there fiddling.
Yeah, I'm really annoying. I accept that.
Yeah, good. In the back, there's a little cubby hole. There's a little flat which I keep leather cleaning wipes in. So if anyone sits in the back and get their grubby hands on everything, they have to wipe the seat down after them.
Fuck's sake! You've got weird purple tint.
Yeah, it came with a weird purple tint. I don't like it, but it'll be such a nightmare to try and remove it.
Can't you take it to one of them places that do tints? They'd be able to get it off.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what I want to do with it in the future.
Because that's where I was looking at that glow-in-the-dark trim from.
Oh, yeah, glow-in-the-dark trim for the wheels.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we are tacky as.
I love a bit of tack.
Yeah.
Anyone who has ever seen me will know this.
So then... But I managed to move out of like a flat and transport everything with this car. Yes, it took a number of trips, but I can get this 50-inch telly that I'm sat in front of in the back with the seats down. I can get a double bed mattress in there. I had to fold it in half and use like my ratchet strap to like keep it folded in half, but that slotted straight in. And I moved all my boxes. It was great. I mean, I wouldn't be able to move my sofa with it now.
Probably not, but my God,
probably
it's a long vehicle.
Yeah, except when you try and take your long, tall dog, because with the seats down, he's like hunched over, like the hunchback of Notre Dame.
I have selected as a dog the tallest boy, and Pet Shop Man has selected as a vehicle the shortest boy.
That and it's not a car for tall people.
God no.
I'm like
you have to
5'6".
Cripple your neck if you sit in the back.
Yeah, which like Jamie and Martin have to, and they're always moaning, especially when I like purposely go a bit heavy on the brake.
Yeah,
that's always funny. But yeah, and when I've taken the dog from work, Rebel, who's a German Shepherd, like he's hunched over and like gets his massive head between the seats.
But he kind of he fits in a way, and he kind of just hangs out there, doesn't he?
Yeah, and your dog's all right if we put a dog bed in there because he'll lay in that. But when he's not, he's as fidgety as you. You can tell he's yours.
Yeah.
So from the time you didn't have a car, I had to bundle.
This is a person who made actual lists of things that their friends could not do in the car.
Yeah, but a lot of it's a joke.
I put my dogs in it.
You put your dogs in it. You put your grubby hands in it.
Boots in it. My hands. My pasta.
Mush your pasta into my carpet. So then I had to take you to pick up your new car, which is
a Honda CR-V.
You've gone up in the world, and there is no further up you can go without buying a limo.
I went up in the world size-wise.
You did?
Well, when I was actually looking for a car, and we were discussing it fairly at length, and I was saying,
we were sending each other links, and
I was like, I kind of want something that's a little bit bigger than what I had before, because obviously, like, my dog's fucking huge, and I've got lots of them as well. And
but you don't like a saloon car.
But I don't like a saloon. I feel like they're just not for me.
I still think something like a Subaru, like Forester or Outback, which is like 4x4 but an estate.
Yeah.
Would have
even
been
then,
suited,
I'm a bit dodgy about. I don't even really like estates that much either.
Take what you can get.
Yeah, but I kind of thought I was like, right, I'm gonna get a little bit bigger than my car, just a bit, just so that I can fit a bit more in it.
You can fit a bit more.
Then I bought a fucking massive 4x4.
You get two of your i20s,
and it's incredible. Oh my God, I love that car so hard.
So yeah, on our nice hot day, we bundled into my greenhouse of a car, sunburnt ourselves all the way to... We literally,
burnt to a crisp as well, didn't we?
We had to have, like, the sunroof open and the light was beaming on us, so we're, like,
cinders.
Skins bubbling as we're driving along. All the way to... Where was it?
Sheffield, nearly.
Was it Sheffield?
Yeah.
Went all the way there. So my car's been everywhere as well. It's been up and around. Picked your car up. Spent about 2 hours trying to sort your insurance and things out on it.
Faff that was. And finding a cash machine because I'd not taken enough money by accident. And then just generally, I was putting off driving back just because when I sat in it, I was like, well, shit, this is big as fuck.
Yeah.
And it was quite scary, but it doesn't feel big anymore. And
the
boot,
the initial shock has gone.
Opens like a door, and it's absolutely massive. I can fling dogs galore in it and all their stuff and all my shoes and all my sanctuary stuff and shopping bags and everything.
Let me just loop back a bit. Oh, you know where this is going. about throwing dogs. Now, we went to the forestry for a dog walk. You wanted something a bit more 4x4 so we can go to the woods a lot, because when you get to the ice cream woods, or is it Howard-Dale? I always know them as ice cream woods.
Yeah, Howard-Dale, Silpho, that kind of area.
The roads down there, when you go off the beaten track, the pothole ridden, it's like driving to my work. It's bad.
Yeah.
So you wanted something a bit more capable.
Yeah.
So there's a bit where it forks off. You can go to the left,
to the left,
or you could go like
straight
30 feet and around another bend, and one will take you to like the in forestry bit. The other way will take you to like a nice view over the valley.
Correct.
So we just started going down
the nice view version,
and then you stopped, and then you were like, "Can you see a car down there?"
Now, there's a bit of backstory. My large, long, lanky dog, Adam, I love him very, very dearly. He is an absolute arse. So I can't have him around other dogs that he doesn't know. So I could shove another dog in the car or in my house, and that's fine. Go on a dog walk with somebody with their dog, that's fine. But if I go on a dog walk and I meet another dog, not fine.
No,
he also doesn't like people. He's just scared of everything, and that comes out as bitiness, and he's a big dog, so not great.
Well, step back on the bitiness.
Not bitiness so much as jumpy, uppy, barkiness.
Yeah.
Just general intimidation behaviours.
We stopped at the fork. Mm-hmm. And you say, "Can you see a car down there?" And I can't remember what I said. But then that quickly went onto a conversation about something which you found hilarious.
Yes.
While you were trying to manoeuvre.
I wasn't really paying attention. I was having a conversation and just sort of like automatically manoeuvring, thinking, the worst that can happen here is I dab a tree and then I'll just turn around.
But what happened?
I fucking backed up into a massive ditch.
You did. So, you've got one wheel on the other side of this ditch. You've got one wheel
in midair,
teetering in midair, and you've got the two front wheels. So obviously, they're like the car's rocking backwards and forwards a bit. I tell you to stop. I don't know why, because we weren't going anywhere.
Stop! I can't not.
I was like, hang on, I need to get out.
I need to get out and run. No.
So I got out to turn around and film you struggling in this ditch. And I got 7 glorious seconds of footage of like you wobbling around, going nowhere, going, "What are you effing filming for?" And I was like, "Because it's really funny."
And I was like, "Ah!" And my dogs were all like tipped backwards into a ditch.
Your exhaust is going mental as plumes of smoke are billowing out of like the undergrowth, like it's some kind of 80s horror film going on.
It was ridiculous.
So,
and entirely my own fault.
And
there we go.
You were stuck. Now,
we tried a selection of methods to get out at that point.
We did, because with your CRV, it doesn't have...
My hand looks like a chameleon's hand. Anyway.
That's more of a visual thing.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
Normal CRV, wheels.
Yeah, normal CRV and wheels. So you don't have like diff lock or anything where you can switch between four-wheel drive or front-wheel drive or more power to go to the front and the back. It is just all 4x4 and that's it.
Yeah.
So couldn't do that. There wasn't, because the front near side, there's a proper term, was teetering off the ground. That couldn't get any traction,
no
so I was like trying to jump practically on your bonnet to try and like get some weight down that. Then we thought, right, we're gonna have to go into the wood and get some wood and get them under the tie. But before I set off, a woman came bombing round the corner in her people carrier, like grinded to a halt, and was like, "You're right." I just got
out and sort of like asked if we were all right, but also insulted us several times at the same time.
Yeah, because I mean, it was the summer and we were like in our proper like city gear, like You had your Uggs on or something. I had my Vans on.
She was like a fully like ruddy farm woman.
She like probably lives.
And
in
she literally got out of a car, looked at me, and went, "You don't even have the right tyres on it. It's no wonder." And I was like, "Mate, I bought it like a day ago. Calm down."
So like, she was super nice though.
She was very, very nice.
She was very nice.
Very intimidating. I was frightened, but she was nice.
So she was like,
I was like, "I'm going to do everything you say because I'm scared not to."
So she started like pulling car mats out of a car and said, "Stick them under the wheels." Like, don't be bothering with that. That's rubbish. That won't get you anywhere. That won't do now. And then she like backed her car up and she was like, "All right, have you got any rope?" It's like, no. She's incredibly like untoolsful. So like, she opened a boot and there was like a dog cage full of terriers.
And
like,
a random terrier in the boot.
Yeah, and they're all just like staring and like yapping to see what's going on. She grabs the cage and practically like hurls it across the road.
It was like, if you can envision, you know, in cartoons and films where somebody's looking for something in a box and they're just slinging everything behind them. Imagine that, but with a ruddy-cheeked farmer, and the things that she's slinging are terriers.
Yeah, a cage full of terriers that they didn't sway him or anything. They just took it, and then she like handed me this loose one. Said, "Just hold on to that one." I was like, "Okay." And she was like wrapping leads around the towing eye of your car. And then
she just like tied loads of dog leads together, and she's like, "We'll have to use these."
But it didn't work, and a lead snapped. And she was like, "Right, I know the farmer that like kind of like owns the area, and he only lives down there. I'll go and get him for you, and he'll like tow you out." So she like goes bombing off, you know, because she was like, "I used to have a 4x4 as well."
Lobbed all her dogs back into the car.
I just use this people carrier now, and she lobbed all the dogs back in the car, just like sling them in, and then she goes bombing off down the forestry without a care in the world. While we're just kind of like looking at each other, going,
"What
she's
just
quite
happened?"
a frightening person, but she's very helpful and quite nice at the same time. Then she came back, and then me and her were waiting at one side of the road as you were kind of teetering in your Italian job style on the edge of your car, waiting for this guy to turn up. And then I was trying to like say to her, like, "Oh yeah, I had it long. Yeah, no, the tyres are wrong, but you know, weren't planning on doing this kind of off-roading." And then she was like, "Oh, the guy that I spoke to, it was like, how'd you get a bloody 4x4 stuck?" I was like, "Well, it's not a proper 4x4.
And also by reversing it into a ditch.
Yeah, that
you put the ditch there, sir. It's your forest.
And then he comes bombing down the road in his proper Land Rover Discovery.
It was the most farmeriest vehicle I've ever seen.
No, it was a Defender, not a Discovery.
Yeah.
And he dragged you out of the ditch, and even he was like, "Oh, where'd you get a 4x4?"
And then I was just getting like a tirade of abuse from strangers about my car choice. I was
City
like,
slicker.
Yeah.
Need to get your wax. You should have got your Mac on.
I know, yeah, I was going to say, I have since
jacket.
then. I'll try and make myself look as outdoorsy as possible so that people don't judge me.
We're going for a nice little steady walk in the woods. Let's wear all our country gear so we look like we fit in. So it's like, right.
Let's apply tweed.
Get your wellies on. Get my Barbara Streisand jacket on. You get your denim on.
My denim overalls.
Get some country hats
and a
or
Mac
something.
on the top, yeah. Flat cap.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And now every time we drive past that little bit of ditch, it's like, remember that?
Oh, there it is.
And then there was a day when I was just at home. And I got a phone call from you.
Yes, you did.
"Oh, hi, Robyn." It was like 9 o'clock or something. It was quite late.
And normally I never phone you, so that's weird in itself.
I need to answer this because Robyn's rung me out of the blue. Something must be wrong. I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Well, now I'm just at home with Stacey, my other sister." She's like, "Oh, pet shop, Mum. I've gone for a walk and I left the lights on. And I've come back from the dog walk and the car won't start.
Now, in my defence, in the car that I had before that one, when you turn the engine off, the lights turned off. So my automatic response was to just turn the engine off and then walk."
So I was like, "Oh, right. Well, have you got any jumper cables with you?" I'm like, "No."
I own some. They're in my house.
You'll have to drive to my house, pick them up, oh, and can you come and save me? I was like, oh, God. So, like, I bundled Stacey into the car because she wanted to come. It's my rescue Hyundai. Yours is... I've now saved 2 cars with flat batteries using my car. It is quite the steed. And then we went bombing down all the way up to the forestry to come and save you.
Yeah.
And then there you were with your friend. Dogs were roaming around everywhere.
In the absolute pitchest of black.
Yeah. And I jump-started a car feeling awfully manly for it. So yes, I've done a thing and saved a person. And then we set off down the wobbly road. You in your 4-wheel drive. Me trying to negotiate all these massive potholes in my...
Going round the potholes, and I was just like,
low-down
straight through them.
With you, like, up my arse.
Yeah.
And then we go out the forestry, and there you were, like, kind of up my arse again. I was like, right. So I put my foot down, speeding along the really long straight road. And not you trying to keep up with me was the issue. It was Stacey, my sister. Go, you're going too fast. Slow down. So Stacey, I'm doing like 40. It's like a 60 road. You're a driver. Like, you're in the army and you drive. Yet you're panicking that I'm doing 40 in a 60. Like, oh, you're going too fast. So it's like, oh, you're so boring. Like, Robyn's there. She's up my ass. I don't want her there. It's like, oh, don't, please. I was like, ugh. So then I had to drive Miss Daisy home.
You had to chauffeur.
Oh, felt like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so recently, as in a few days, well, I say a few days ago, my clutch has been dodgy for a while.
It has. I'm fidgeting again, I'm sorry. Background noise galore. Fidget, I can't get comfy.
But, like, nothing dramatic, except, like, if I hard accelerate, the revs would shoot straight up and I'm not picking up speed. So I have to, like, tap it or gently do it. So
yeah.
We went away for a day, or a couple of days. On our way back, we're coming back from, like, Newcastle way, and we're negotiating all these hilly coastal roads, and I was following this Audi or something going up this quite, like, steep carriageway up and around a bend, and for no reason it just kind of, like, braked a little. So I backed off and, like, changed down a gear, but then because it was that steep, I obviously lost a lot of power quickly, and then I put my foot down and I was picking up speed, and then, like, the revs just suddenly shot up. And we got that really nice burning aroma.
Oh, that delicious smell of clutch.
So I was like, damn, that's just, like, finished me off.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get, like, another month or 2 out of this. So I had to get my clutch changed.
You did.
Ugh, that was a frighteningly expensive ordeal that I don't want to have to repeat. Which I shouldn't have to do.
I should have thought not at this point.
Yeah, got a courtesy car for a night, which was weird because it was like a brand new Honda Jazz with the jazz hands.
Spirit of jazz.
While I was there picking up the car, the guy who worked there tried to sell us a Honda Civic each.
He did.
Just because we're, like, looking at the colours. I was like, oh, you should get one. It's only $199 and $199 a month.
I was walking around it like, oh, I like this. I'd like one of these. Just like, you know, you do.
Well,
oh, I'd like one of these. I'd like a lot of things. I can't fucking afford them. He's like, oh, here's a deal for you. And I'm like, no, salesman, stay away.
We're not car experts, but we'll get there. So, yeah, things not to say in a car dealership. Oh, this looks nice.
Oh, yeah. Don't go to a car dealership and go, oh, I want one of these.
So, you driving a Honda. My repair cost me £490. And I said to the guy, I got a quote from an actual Hyundai garage and they wanted to charge me £800 for it. If it was a Honda, would you, like, overcharge? Like that. I was like, well, it depends, because obviously they'd be using, like, a official Hyundai parts, so they'll be like more expensive. So it depends on the kind of car you have. Then mentioned it that you had your CRV.
Yes.
Which is currently rattling and creaking and scraping and
squeaking,
making various noises. But they do free health checks. So I got a free health check anyway because my car was getting some work done. I couldn't pick the car up till the next day because they wanted to valet it. My car was filthy, so I wanted them to valet it.
You're like, they were like, you can take it home. No, it's fine. I'll take the Jazz.
I've got like a horrendous scratch down the side of my car. Someone had keyed it in its previous life. Recently, I got some blood stickers that you put on your skin to make it look like you're bleeding, and I put like some of them down the side of the car to make it look like, well,
like a cut.
Make use of a bad situation.
Make light of a bad situation.
Like last Halloween, I put a pirate flag on my really long aerial, and someone just took my aerial with the flag on it. So
we'll have this. If
I stick these stickers on my car, I'm going to wake up in the morning and my door's gone. It's like,
on the plus side, then you'd be able to claim for a new door that didn't have the scratches. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, but then there'll be a scratch. Nice new door. Scratch again. It's like, oh, they stopped at my door. How kind of them. And then carried on the other side. So I was thinking, oh, they better not jet my blood off. Luckily, they didn't. So I got a health check. You went and got your car health checked as well.
I had a bizarre moment where I went to go and pick it up and
they tried to sell you a car again.
There was a lady with a dog in a backpack, and then they tried to sell me a car again. Then they priced up a car that my brother was after, and I nearly vomited in my mouth at just the sheer financial ridiculously of it.
Well, that's what... Well, he wants a Type R. They're the kind of prices he's going to have to pay.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to be able to pay that.
So I have like my health sheet here. It's kind of like a traffic light system of... These are great, and these are moderate, and then these need changing.
Yeah.
I was actually really surprised. I was expecting a lot of red flags, but I didn't. I got one for my wiper blade because it's smearing because there's a cable tie on the end. That's because it's one of them floppy rubber ones, and a little plastic cap came off the end, and the rubber inside kind of like slides out. So I put a little cable tie on the end just to stop it sliding out. Well, that got me a red flag, which that's fine. I'm fine with that. Steering wheel squeak when in full lock. These coupes, they all do it. It's a common thing on the Hyundai group on Facebook that I'm on. Everyone seems to have it. But then Volvos do it because their wheels rub inside the arches because their wheels are so massive and the arches are so small.
Yeah.
So that doesn't bother me. Brake pipe corroded. Well, I don't like that word corroded. But it's a pipe, so that'll probably have to change at some point. Multiple coolant leaks. I've not really had any issues with the cooling anyway. Just yet. And the clutch replacement, but then obviously that happened. And a side light, which would have cost me £10, but they actually did it for free. So at least I got something out of it.
Yes, that's true.
Everything else was fine. There's some couple of like yellow flags, like Maria tires. But I knew that anyway. What else have I got on here? Batteries about half. Just better than yours. Yours goes flat if you leave a light on for like an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
And underbody corroded. I don't like the sound of that.
Soon you will be Flintstone in it.
Don't. So I'm gonna like speak to your guy about it and say, can you save it? Is it good, Doc?
Can you save it? Is it good, Doc? That's Scorby Mill's garage. If anyone's interested, I'm going to give him a plug because he's a love.
Plug there. So yeah, other than that, I'm quite surprised at how well it actually did. I was expecting like lots of issues because I've had it for just over a year and I haven't really needed to spend any money on it other than tyres. But then that's just because they wear anyway.
Yeah, that's just a normal thing. I was pleasantly surprised by the health of my tyres.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised mine passed its MOT. I thought it was because it was the same garage that does our vehicles at work, so I thought it might have been like a dodgy pass. Mm-hmm. But then, having got this, no, it's fine. Like, my brakes are 30% worn. So I was expecting a lot more than that, but I'm surprised.
Can't go wrong.
It may have actually genuinely passed its MOT and not be a dodgy pass.
Yeah.
How did yours go?
Better than I thought it would, actually.
We're both surprised at our
I was pleasantly surprised. I was
Mine's
like,
a
oh.
2006, by the way.
Mine's a 2002. So really, for its age, it's in fairly good nick.
Yeah. I say we don't do bad with our second-hand car thing. I don't do too bad.
Well, it's 'cause you
I'm
only had
still on
one.
my first.
I do bad. But so far, so good for this one. Touch wood, people, touch wood. Basically, it was just the brakes, which I already knew about. I knew there was some kind of weird brake situation. So that's just the pads need replacing. One of them's worn right through. It's pretty much metal on metal, but there we go.
Grinding.
That's where the noise is coming from. And
where one of the noises is coming from.
Honda really wanted me to replace my aircon. Who needs aircon until summer? I'm going to do that
Even
at a
then,
later date.
Our summer doesn't generally last that long.
No.
And we managed.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have
We
it
got tanned.
last summer either.
We got warm. We sweated out some of our fat.
Exactly, you see.
We did all right.
See, I wouldn't mind getting it fixed, but I'm not that keen. I'm not that bothered.
No,
so
they quoted you like £230 or something like that.
Obscene,
so it's like, I can boil. I can
boil.
boil.
It's fine. I can cook. Don't worry about it. And then, so it was the brakes, really, that, and it was the headlights are too foggy.
Yeah.
Polish them, fine,
Yeah, they
done.
just need, like, some of that stuff that you put in your drill, like the sandpapery stuff. Which I want to do on mine eventually, because mine are cloudy.
Yeah, they just need to fix it up. It's just a bit cloudy, that's all. And then it was the something to do with the exhaust, which is loose in the middle, which I already knew about, and was probably caused by the fact that I fell in a ditch.
That actually makes a bit of sense.
Yeah.
Probably just like pushed it right up in there.
Knocked it a little bit out of the way. Yeah. So that's it. That was really it. The tyres are in fine condition.
Yeah.
Windscreen wipers are smearing. That's because I take it and it gets all minging and I have to just wash them and then they're fine again.
Yeah.
So nothing really major.
That's all right.
No.
Now, let's talk about my issues with cars. Yours is that yours break. Mine is apparently I'm quite heavy-footed.
The king of the speeding ticket, if you will.
I still find that, yes, these are technically my faults, but I'm not at fault.
I'm afraid to say that as the driver of a vehicle going too fast,
you're
you're at fault.
For the greater good. See, the first time I was going through to York, I was through all these villages, I was following this one car for no reason. It was driving really slow, and then he'd just suddenly brake, and then set off again. And then I found this quite dangerous, and I didn't want to be behind this person, putting myself at risk.
Yeah, you tell yourself that, yeah.
But he just like kept doing it for no reason. Nothing was running out in front of him. He was driving that slow. Nothing was in front of him. The snails had time to cross the road to get to the other side. There was a queue of cars behind me. So we got onto a carriageway. So I thought, right, I'm not following this guy on a carriageway if he's suddenly going to just start braking. So I went for an overtake. I pulled out. I was side by side, and that's when I saw it in the distance. And obviously, if you see a traffic camera van, it sees you. I thought, crap. As we're both staring at each other, I'd have made a fitting camera picture if they sent me it in the post.
Now, the thing is here, you say that it's not your fault, but if you were speeding by going round him, then he wasn't going too slow.
No, not at that time, but I still don't want to follow him if he was going to start braking. And obviously, if you pull out into the next lane of traffic, where all the other cars are, they want to get past. So you both just be going
true.
like at the same speed.
That's technically, legally speaking, not true.
Legally, but I mean, when we've been doing like 70, no, hey, hear me out. When we've been doing 70 on the motorways and stuff, they're flying past us.
Oh, absolutely. They do it, but what I'm saying is, legally speaking, that's not how they're meant to work.
No. But I didn't want to be behind this guy. So I pulled out.
Fuck him.
I started overtaking and it clocked me. Like, damn. Finished the manoeuvre anyway because I thought they've already caught me. So I thought, whatever.
Fuck it, might as well drive at 100 now.
Fuming. So then I had to go on a speed awareness course, which was eye-opening. Probably not as eye-opening as I needed it to be. Because then, not that long ago, I bought a sofa. So we hired a van and we went to get it. And then we travelled some distance to get it.
I mean, we might as well have just driven to Germany to buy this car. No? Sofa.
But it's a nice sofa, isn't it?
I mean, it is, yeah.
It's the best. Cost me more than I needed it to right now. And then we came back. Then, like, weeks later, I get this letter saying, it didn't say, oh. It was just like,
oh.
You've been doing 59 and a 60. I was like, hang on. What? And then it was like, commercial vehicles on a single carriageway, it's 50, not 60. I was like, well, bummer. I was like, when you learn to drive, if you're not planning on driving a van or you don't intend to, but obviously these things can just appear, you don't really think about it. So I think that anywhere you go that way you can hire a van, they should say, have you driven a van before? This is the law. Like, it's 50 on a single carriageway. The rest is the same.
I'm just sat here in silence, just letting you...
Well, I'm trying to justify my
your illegal behaviours.
The thing is, the lucky thing is, if there's an upside to this, is that it clocked me literally just as we'd set off. We might as well camped outside the van rental place.
You might as well have just like taken a photograph of you.
But the thing is,
leaving the drive.
We drove hours there and hours back. I was doing 60. It's like,
at least.
I'm lucky I only got clocked once. But then, again, I didn't know. I didn't know that the van is limited. I mean, it's mentioned in, like, your driving test. And it is mentioned in, like, the highway code. But I never thought I'd be driving a van. So and anyone that I've, like, spoken to that doesn't drive a van, I've all been like, is it? Really? Only 50? All that kind of thing. Even you were like that. However, I'm the unfortunate one that had to learn for everybody. So it's like, I'll test this theory and let you all know the result. Well, the result is a fine and some points. That's what I learned. But, they need to make it more aware for people. If they're hiring a van,
yeah, I mean, I can
this
see
is
just,
the law.
even just like a reminder, just like, by the way, don't forget that your limit
That's
is
it.
blah blah blah.
They could just have a sticker inside the van on the dash, just saying 50 on a single carriageway, because like duals and motorways, it's still
as normal, yeah,
it's as normal. But just something.
Sorry,
but they don't, and then I got bummed for it. And
you still haven't actually got the paperwork back to tell you how much you owe them.
No, and because it's all done by like snail mail, it takes forever. This was like a few months ago now, and I'm still waiting to know how much I'm going to have to pay.
I mean, it's lucky really that you didn't get a letter through like the day you also had to fix your clutch.
I'd rather get pulled over by the police
and have it
and told, because chances are they might have just let me off because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But when you have just like a van with a camera pointed out the back, you don't get that courtesy.
No, the camera van does not have the human quality of benefit of the doubt.
Of like emotion.
of emotion. Some people don't have emotion either, though.
So, that's so far up to date, my foray with the long stretch of the road of the law.
Yes.
And you, Miss Swervy
drive like a twat.
Drive face, scot-free.
I am a lucky driver.
It's the only thing you're lucky with.
I'm fucking shit at everything else, but I've not been clocked for any of my wrongdoings.
But you've not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
That you've been caught for.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've not been caught doing anything wrong.
Dogs roaming in the cars and eating and being, like, glancing at your phone or...
looking at things out...
trying to swap a song over on your phone or something.
Yeah, seeing a cute dog in the distance and just turning around and looking at it.
Yeah. But...
I mean, literally, like,
I'm the unfortunate
how long have we been
one.
sat here? An hour or so?
Yeah.
And I've fidgeted and fiddled and like, I don't even know how I managed to get a license to start with, to be honest. I'm just, like, all over the place. But I did. I'm a good driver, I think.
We both passed first time as well,
yeah,
didn't
we? Yeah.
High five.
Yes.
Yes.
You go,
yes.
Simon. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Simon Dixon.
This is what Simon does.
Just another little plug there.
Also, Simon, tell people about vans more. I need to spread this word that, like,
petition to talk about vans some more.
It needs to happen, and I should like complain to people or something. I don't know.
Get like some placards.
That van stops quicker than my car, yet it has to go slower. I suppose it's to do with like the weight in the back, but there was only a sofa in it. But I suppose that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Still trying to justify both my heavy-footedness.
Yeah.
One was I feel for my own safety, and the other one was just because I didn't know. But again, 59 in the 60, I was still not speeding technically, but was at the same time.
According to this calculator, you'll owe him about £150.
Yeah, it's generally about £100, 3 points.
Yeah.
You didn't have to point that out to me. I can't afford that right now. I've just had to pay for a clutch to be repaired.
Well, that's what I mean. At least they didn't send you the letter about 3 days before your car was booked.
Yeah,
They'd be like, we need this within 48 hours.
We've got like rent and stuff now.
Yeah. Fuck. Adulthood.
Life.
And and therefore we would end as we've begun with just the horrors that is being alive.
Oh, quickly before we leave.
Yeah.
You hate driving over level crossings.
I fucking hate it.
And what happened the other day?
I was halfway across a level crossing and the light started flashing and I shat my pants.
It was funny. I found it funny.
Yeah, you found it hilarious.
Because I was sat there next to you. As your hands quickly clenched the
have
wheel.
Always. As soon as I go over a level crossing, I will sweat. I will clench in all the areas.
Even when you're in my car.
Even when I'm in another car. Like
speeding over them lights.
they freak me out. I don't know. I mean, I'm scared of werewolves, so I mean, level crossings are a bit more normal, really. Are they? I think. No.
Do you picture it when you're in my car and we go over a level crossing that it's like the end of the first Fast and the Furious where they're jumping over the level crossing?
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, it's just guaranteed. That,
as I'm speeding my way over the level crossing.
I convince myself that I'm driving over a level crossing, both the gates close at either side of me, and all my car brakes, and I'm right in the middle of it, and a train just appears out of nowhere, then I die. It just freaks me out. I picture that every time I go over them, and it makes me clench.
You're
I'm kind of like,
expecting.
I literally, I kind of like start to go over it, and I'm like, I have to like really rev myself, like really.
You're expecting the guy in the little box to have forgotten there's a train coming, and that is put down at the last possible second.
Yes, exactly. You never know.
Will you
never know.
Sweat it out.
Yeah. And I actually like went red the other day because I was so frightened because it happened.
It's hilarious.
My worst nightmare was nearly realised.
A quick gasp and a roar as you bang your foot down on the accelerator to get over to the other side. Expected to just be quickly trapped in.
Yeah, just boxed by the world's scariest.
You'd still like crash through it or something.
Of course I would.
Another scratch to add to your collection.
Exactly. Not that you can see them because my bodywork is too heavily soiled.
Oh yeah. The car inspection. Again, before we leave, this has gone on really long, this episode.
It has, and I've got to go home and put my dogs to bed.
Because we've just been talking about cars, it's gone on for so long.
Yeah.
Tell me. They checked your tyres on your car. Please quickly explain what happened.
Very briefly, so they checked the tyres on the car. That's the 4 tyres that are currently adhered to the road. Not adhered, that's the wrong word. So they checked the 4 tyres that were going around. They were absolutely fine. And then there was a note on the thing saying they couldn't check the spare tyre because the boot was too full. Because I have a lot of stuff in the boot, including dog paraphernalia, as we've previously mentioned. Only the fucking spare wheel is stuck to the back of the car.
Yeah, it sticks out an extra foot on the back of the car.
So they were like, we can't check your spare tyre because it's underneath the boot and the boot's too full. I was like, has anyone even slightly glanced at this car? Because it's literally right in front of your face. It's here.
And this was like a genuine Honda garage that we went to.
I was like, people...
You think, even if you couldn't see it, you'd know where it is.
Well, even if you didn't know where it was, you could fucking see it. It's a huge wheel and it's stuck on the back.
Because what they should know, is what we found out, is that where a spare wheel normally is on a car, you have a table. They have a built-in table in the boot of your car. A
pull-out picnic table.
Which is really weird.
For reasons.
But, handy.
I'm okay with it, yeah.
But again, spare wheel just right there on the back.
It's like, there's no spare wheel.
Massive plastic
it's
cover over it.
It's almost like I can imagine a comedy situation where they've kind of like opened the boot and gone, well, we can't see it, and then closed it again and stared at it. Maybe even rested on it to write the note, perhaps.
Maybe they leant on it as they were getting down on the ground to see if it was like underneath the car, because some of them were under, and then like hoisted themselves back up on it and go rest a cup of tea on it and go, well, it just beggars belief.
Where even is this wheel?
Phone Honda in Japan. Find out where these wheels are.
It's just stupid. I could not believe it. What an absolute, just a
should have put like a Lego wheel in the back. Then this must be it. This must be it. They'll be fine.
I'll just draw. I'll get a piece of paper and draw a picture of a wheel and be like, there it is.
Well, they'll be saying it's quite bald, so make sure you draw some treads in it.
Yeah. God, I can't believe the hilarious stupidity of that.
Just get a big sticker for like the wheel cover.
Like, this is a wheel.
The wheel cover is, the spare wheel is right here.
Yeah. Like, hello, I'm a spare wheel. Nice to see you.
Unless
directly in your eyesight.
Unless they look there, but someone's nicked your spare wheel.
They haven't, I checked.
Oh, you checked? Oh.
I did.
Well,
and then they couldn't check the bodywork because it's too filthy.
Yeah.
Couldn't even have the courtesy of cleaning it to have a look properly, but there we go, whatever.
I got a valet, but then
you did spend nearly £500.
£500 to get my car repaired.
Yeah, I didn't.
What a life.
I know. So mine's booked in next Friday. Hopefully everything will be fixed.
Not from the Honda garage,
no,
from a different garage.
With my different garage, that's Scarborough Mills Garage.
What's the number?
Oh God, I don't know off the top of my head.
It's because I don't have an advert on your Goes Radio, that's why.
Yeah, no, it's honestly ridiculous. But yeah, they couldn't find the spare wheel and they couldn't see any of my bodywork for mud. Which
says a lot about a garage that can't find a spare wheel that's literally bolted onto the boot.
Yeah.
On the outside.
On the outside, it's the first thing. Like, you cannot not see it. I will also give you a picture of my car so you can add that as the end there as a footnote.
Yeah. Oh, there's going to be like lots of pictures just for this episode.
Yeah.
Of our cars next to each other in the Honda garage, waiting to be
collected,
picked up and collected.
Anyway.
So that's the
adulthood is horrifying
chapter.
And no one can see wheels.
Yeah. Cars, they're expensive, but they get you from A to B, sometimes quickly.
Sometimes via a ditch.
Yeah. So either way, we both have bad luck with cars, but in different ways.
We do.
And maybe one day we'll both learn from these, but so far it's not gone to plan.
No.
So until next time, we'll be talking more life stories or whatever.
Some other stuff.
I
guess.
Life stuff.
Yeah.
Until next time, it's bye from me.
And it's au revoir from me, because I'm French now.
You went fancy.
Au revoir.
Yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen.
That's not French.
That's German.
I know.
But in a weirdly, Swedish accent. Anyway, bye.
Bye.